There's 3 P's that you gotta annihilate, crush, or destroy if they're getting in the way of your progress in a relationship or your career or your happiness or your health. These are the 3 P's that make learned helplessness. Number 1, you think the problem is permanent. Once you've had enough disappointment, sometimes your brain doesn't want to get disappointed, so it's a permanent problem. Please write down, no problem is permanent, only your soul is permanent. Nothing's forever. Everything changes, everything eventually ends, and something new begins. That's part of life. Those are the seasons of life. The second P that keeps people in learned helplessness so they don't change, this belief's got to be annihilated, broken through, and that it's pervasive. That means that because my relationship's not great, my whole life is horrible. Then you're forgetting you do have health, or you do have friends, or you do have a job, or you do have whatever. I can breathe. And the third one is we think the problem is personal. There's something wrong with me. And if you start believing that, it becomes self-fulfilling. You give up. See, I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not smart enough. I always screw it up. So those 3 P's got to be destroyed. RPM planning is a way to maximize the results of your life and maximize your sense of fulfillment and joy. It's both. In order to do that, we got to change what we focus on from the question of what do I have to do to what's my outcome? What do I want? What's most important to me? What's the result I'm committed to getting? That one change will change completely how you respond in your life, because it'll change you from focusing where everyone's demanding your attention or what you're afraid of or what might give you pleasure in the moment to what's most important to you. And those, by the way, are the 3 things that get our focus. If we don't discipline ourselves, what gets our focus? Something we're afraid of, something that gives us pain. What's the second thing that gets our focus if we don't pay attention? Something will give us pleasure. It's like, you know what, I'm so stressed out. Oh, that chocolate's looking good. Oh, that, I'm gonna go over to have my little coffee, my smoke a mocha doka, cream this thing and that thing, and I'm gonna escape for a few moments. Because the focus is how to feel good. How to not feel bad, how to feel good. What's the third thing that gets your focus? Other people's demands. It's not necessarily there are more demands, it's just that we're accessible to more demands. And if you don't know what you want, and you don't know why it's a must for you to achieve it, and you don't have a plan, I can promise you something. You're gonna fit in everybody else's plan.
Well, I think it's really important. First of all, it's great to be with you all here. I know you've had a full day, and I hope to add some real value to you in this brief time. I think it's really critical that you understand that everybody wants to grow their business, and we all go through different phases, right? Just like human beings go through phases. You give birth to your business, and you're an infant, and an infant is a run for survival, and cash flow problems are a natural process in most cases, and you're running. Hopefully you get to a teenager where now cash flow is not a problem, you're growing like crazy, and then you have a new problem. You don't have systems in place. And maybe you get to young adult where you have to decide what you're not going to do. Eventually, hopefully get to prime where you're growing your business revenues and you're growing your profits and you got a professional organization and you're not doing it. Because as long as you're doing it, really you don't have a business. What you have is you're self-employed. There's nothing wrong with being self-employed. But whenever you meet someone who's in business is stressed, they're always a business operator. And my focus is to become a business owner. How do you do that? You realize that the chokehold in the growth of your business is always the leader. And it's your skills and it's your psychology. And I found it's 80% psychology and 20% skills. You gotta have the marketing skills. You gotta be able to lead. You gotta be able to recruit. You gotta do all those things. But really, most importantly, you gotta get it through what I call the threshold of control. And this, to me, is the secret to really succeeding in business. And it's pretty simplistic. How many of you snowboard or ski? Anybody out there snowboard or ski? Give you a sense? So most people are terminally intermediate when they get into that sport, right? They really never get that good. They're not really a belonger. They're kind of in the middle, and they never get much better. And I think the reason is they never push themselves beyond what they can handle, right? You're used to greens or blues, and you find yourself on a double black, and what happens? Everything inside you freaks out because you're past what I call the threshold of control, your comfort zone. And you look down, you go, I could die doing this. So now you have 2 choices. Either most people slam themselves on the ground, hang on for dear life, and try not to skid off the cliff, and at best what you do is survive, or a few people let go of their fear, no matter how scary it is, and goes, I gotta go down this thing, and there's no other choice, and they focus on where they wanna go instead of what they're afraid of. And they find a way to carve. And once you carve a few of them, that double black is your bitch.
How many of you have ever gone to an environment, could be a university environment, could have been a seminar, where you learned something you thought was important. You thought it was valuable. No one was selling you. And then you went home and did nothing. I found that knowledge is not power. People talk about knowledge all the time. Knowledge is potential power. The real power is in our execution. So what I've been obsessed about for I guess now this will be my 47th year. I started when I was 2, right? But in 47 years, I could be an idiot if I didn't notice there are patterns. Patterns that'll make you angry, sad, frustrated, overwhelmed. Patterns that'll make you passionate, driven, excited, fulfilled, grateful. And once we understand that we are not our patterns, that it's just something we learned along the way, we think it's us because we've been doing it so long. It's actually very easy to change a pattern. Hard to change yourself, and you don't have to. I didn't come by here to change you. I want to walk you through then how we get to the result that you really want. What we're going to do is show you how to take the tools that control the way you think and feel directly. When people think about their goals, I don't know about you, but I would be frustrated with myself for so many years because I'd have these huge goals and then I wouldn't achieve them, or I'd approach them but not where I want, or I'd go to a seminar and I'd learn something really valuable and then not apply it. So then I beat myself up, and it doesn't serve you because when you beat yourself up, your energy goes up or down. What would you say? Down or up? Down. When your energy goes down, you don't take action. And then one day I started working with athletes, and then I got to work with some of the greatest athletes in the world. And one of the things I noticed was they didn't think I should learn something once and then it was there. The greatest athletes in the world understand one thing: repetition is power. Today in society, we've heard something once and we think we know it. If you're not doing it, you don't know it. I literally took a speed reading course and I said, I'm gonna read a book a day. I didn't do that, but in 7 years, I read 700 books in the area of human development, psychology, physiology, anything I could make a difference. But then I got jaded because I'd heard all the stories. I'd heard this before. And when you have that mindset, you lose your edge. But I was just burnt. And the reason I was burnt is I wasn't really applying it. I had knowledge without execution. And so I started looking at these athletes and going, okay, what makes this person the best in the world? They're doing the same thing they know over and over and over and over and over again. That's what makes you a master. So I caught myself and I shifted my whole life. And then I noticed something else. I needed repetition to be a master of something. I need to get myself excited to do something that's the same, but find a way to do it better every time. Not just go get more stuff. But one of the things that most of us still miss is it's not just practicing, it's practicing giving your all. Just practicing won't do it. It's like being there in the experience over and over and over again. So I tell people, if you see someone who's truly successful at anything and you think they're better than you are, they are not better than you are. They may know something you don't know, but more importantly, you get rewarded in public for what you practice constantly in private.